Hello everyone, Flamin' Shark back with another video, and it's been a while since you've seen this lovely mug on your screen, whether it be a phone or a laptop, a computer, monitor, a TV, whatever you're watching me on. Hello, we're back. We're back with Owarimonogatari episodes 5 to 7. I don't know what the part is called. I'm very curious next rotation because we're... this is terrifying, by the way. We're doing 6 episodes of Monogatari in the next Monogatari video after this one. I'm horrified as to whether that is going to be 6 episodes of, just 6 episodes of Monogatari will probably explode my brain. I know I've done it with 6 episodes of Koyomi, but that's basically like 3 episodes. And honestly, even though Koyomi episodes were half, they felt like quarter episodes of Monogatari because they were like, not only were they like half the length of a normal Monogatari episode, but they were easily the most concise, simple. I actually didn't have that much to say, not a whole lot to break down. You guys know me and Monogatari, we have an interesting relationship. That TV's loud as fuck. But I'm really excited for Monogatari, and I'm really excited, more importantly, to be back on the channel. I was able to get the Fate video in and record it and everything, kind of in the midst of my shit, the last video that's on the channel, but this is like the real return. I'm probably going to, originally my plan was to post every day, moving forward for the rest of the year, posting every day, but skipping Saturdays, basically Monday to Thursday being rotational videos, Friday being Let's Play stuff, Saturday being an off day, and Sunday being Dragon Prince, Rick and Morty, Inside Job, actually Inside Job's before Rick and Morty. You get the point. All these different shows that I need to catch up on. I still might miss Saturdays, but I might also just use Saturdays as like a rotational day that might occasionally be like a random video day. I don't know. My schedule has been very turbulent lately, and I'm finding out that at this very moment, and it can change very fast, I should be able to record and upload a lot for the rest of the year without issue, really without anything that would get in the way of it, I hope. There was a situation going on, a family situation, family matter that I've basically hopefully has been resolved. It could fall off a cliff and become a huge problem that's going to take me away from YouTube, but as long as it stays where it is right now, we should be good for the rest of the year. Not saying everyday videos, you guys know I'll probably miss some days, but we should be around. The funny thing is that not only was it technically 2 Fate videos in a row, the next video after this will also be Fate because it's my bonus Fate video, which I'll be recording later after this video and after I do my first Dragon Prince video for this coming Sunday. But yeah, I'm glad to be back, finally in the chair once more recording. My room, my office of sorts is actually cleaned out. You guys don't see most of it, but like there's this bench kind of down here. You can kind of see the shark over here, but this bench down here usually was a fucking mess, and it was kind of just off camera. It's mostly cleared out now, which is pretty cool. You actually could see some figures back here in the distance, and yes, I know there's a blank spot there because those are all my open figures. I probably will put, it's probably 1, I could put 2, I don't know. I'll probably do 2. I'll probably open a few figures. I'm thinking maybe when like Attack on Titan, the final season comes, maybe I'll pop out Hanji and Krista. I have those. I got Megumin and Darkness for when the Megumin series pops up. That's an option. As you guys know, I have Senjo Gahara, which I guess I could pop out now. I got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of options. I'm even thinking about maybe in the future, if I have more of the figures open, swapping them out. The thing is, though, where I record, it covers that anyway. So it's not like you can even see them in the background most of the time. So it's not even really a big deal. But it's fun. And maybe one day I'll have a setup that shows them off a little more. We'll do something. I'm really excited for this because Owarimonogatari has been simultaneously very Monogatari and not what I expected. Now, what did I expect? I have no fucking clue. Especially after that interesting teaser with Hachikuji at the end of Koyomi, that made me even less sure as to what to expect. But I knew that we would go on a journey that would somehow lead us to our boy's death and whatever the fuck is going to happen in Owarimonogatari. So that's hype. And it's like, how do we get... that's not... I misphrased that. The events of Owarimonogatari that will lead to that moment, that will lead to the events of, I'm assuming, second season. My assumption is, since I know that Koyomi, if I'm not mistaken, aired between Owari first season and Owari second season, I'm assuming that this set and next set, mainly probably next set, will lead into whatever the fuck is going to happen that's going to, and kind of lead us into the whole thing where our boy dies and ends up in the whole situation with Hachikuji and the end of Koyomi Monogatari. So it's very interesting. I'm very excited to see how we get from point A to point B, and then from there, from point B to point C. I really struggled to explain that properly. You get my point. I'm saying, how do we get to the end of Koyomi? And from there, where do we go? Very excited, though. Very, very excited. I'm assuming that might start to build in this set, but then again, the next set is a 6-episode one, so it's probably mostly going to happen in that one. This is going to probably be just more Sodachi stuff where we left off. I mean, it's time to deal with the girl. So let's see what they do with Oikura, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's jump in to episode 5 of Owarimonogatari. It's 5 to 7, by the way, if I didn't say that. Episode 5 of Owarimonogatari in 3, 2, 1, and play. Very curious to see how things kind of link together in the end, really, with this show, because I think Oshino Ougi has lived up to the hype so far, and I feel like she's been built up, kind of like these little teases of almost nothing, but just they never did anything with Ougi, which kind of made it obvious that Owari was going to be all about Ougi, and I've been really satisfied with what we've gotten so far. And I'm really looking forward to where we go with her character moving forward. Anyways, that was episode 5 of Owarimonogatari. Awesome episode, great episode, really loved it. Really enjoyed Hanakawa's significant involvement. We've seen her kind of poking around in Owari. Obviously, there was the phenomenal scene with Senjo Gahara and Sodachi and Hanakawa, where Hanakawa was holding on. That shit lives rent free in my head. That's fucking great. But really got to see Hanakawa really step up as like a main character in this episode, and we haven't really had a lot of that in a long time. And she got a lot of focus in some of the earlier parts of Monogatari, but not a lot since. So it's always great to get more Hanakawa. She is certainly one of the best characters. I think there's a very strong case for like probably at least 6 characters. I mean, I probably more. I feel like you could I could understand all different. I could understand your favorite character being Hanakawa, Senjo Gahara, Shinobu, Araragi, Kaiki. I'm coming around to Ougi on that front. I think there's still a ways to go before on that jury's still out there. Honestly, like most characters in this show, it's just such a good character drama. It's a mystery series in a lot of ways, but it's also like a character drama, I guess. I don't know. Labeling series is not really the point. The point is it's really good, and its strength lies in its characters and its unique writing. But really cool stuff. I really enjoyed that episode, and I really enjoyed the confrontation of sorts between Hanakawa and Ougi. I think that was very, very cool because they approach things in a relatively similar way. They're both very smart. They're both very they have a certain way of operating, and to see them clash over Koyomi was hilarious. And the joke, the finish where Hanekawa offers her boobs and it's just immediately like it just cuts to them at fucking Sodachi's apartment complex is fucking hilarious. And obviously he explains and clearly meant what he was explaining, but it's about why he actually chose Hanekawa, but it still plays into the memes of Monogatari. So that was really good stuff. And yeah, this episode was just really interesting and fun. I liked the OP a lot. I thought the OP, like I said, was relatively simple. Very cool, but I don't think it was one of my favorite openings, but there's so many openings at this point that, you know, people, it's so funny because on YouTube there is like the whole thing where it's like reacting to all anime openings for X show, Y show, Z show, right? Like that's a thing. Unironically, I feel like I should do like one thing that I would legitimately consider after Owari, just kind of as like a one-off video, unironically, is just kind of going through all the openings of Monogatari and just like kind of talking about just like, because I feel like it would be a great like all-encompassing kind of experience of the journey. I think that's actually something that might actually be really cool for long series. Like one day when I'm finally caught up to JoJo's, I think that might also be like a cool thing, like reacting to like all the JoJo's openings. Like I've already seen them, of course, and reacted to them. I've seen them a bunch of fucking times through the reactions, but I think just kind of looking back on the journey for particularly for these long series like JoJo's or like Monogatari. Obviously a series like Hunter x Hunter, there isn't really a lot there, but you get my point. And just kind of looking back on the experience and all the fun times we've had on the channel with series like that, and I think Monogatari is one of the prime examples of that. But yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to think if I have much else to say about that episode. I really enjoyed the conversation. I think Ougi was a lot more direct in this episode. I think Ougi has managed to get away with being cryptic and kind of leading, stringing Koyomi along. In this episode, Ougi got very aggressive, I guess you could say, but very like directly calling him a fool constantly and very obviously trying to string him along, and clearly she was able to pretty much succeed. The only reason why she didn't get what she wanted was because of Hanekawa. It had nothing to do with what Araragi did. So I mean the only thing that Araragi did consciously that prevented Ougi getting what she wanted was Araragi recognizing the fact that Hanekawa wouldn't just offer her boobs for no reason, thus identifying that Hanekawa is really serious about this, and in the process he in turn did choose her, which is really cool actually. That's like unironically a great play, not only on just like Araragi understanding Hanekawa, but also like a cool callback to Kizu Monogatari as well. Anyways, I think I'm ready to check out episode 6 and see what else we have in store, because this is fun, and it's time for us to actually get some Sodachi in Sodachi Lost. I'm very excited to see what she looks like in her pajamas, and more importantly, I'm excited to actually see her be salty as fuck about Araragi being at her apartment, because that's going to be hilarious and probably adorable as well. So anyways, let's jump into episode 6 of Owarimonogatari. Wow. That was really compelling. Holy shit. That was episode 6 of Owari. Man. So, The thing about Oikura Sodachi is she's one of these characters that is probably one of the less likable girls that have been introduced in Monogatari. But I think that's the point. I didn't think I'd get to this point, this place, but she's very reminiscent of a girl who's actually standing behind me. And I know you can probably barely see her, but I'm, of course, talking about Asuka from Evangelion. And I won't go any further than that. Like I said, don't want to be spoiling stuff, even stuff that's as old as that. Sodachi is has a very awful existence, and it's born from a combination of terrible circumstances, a rough childhood, and letting those instead of focusing on overcoming that and finding ways to truly be happy, she's let that trauma define her and really kind of lead her emotionally, psychologically, and lead her to this place now where she's on her own, she's living her life, and yet at the same time she isn't really living. And over the course of the conversation, more and more of Okura's true feelings came out, and we got to see more and more of how she really feels. The more the conversation went, the more she started to really kind of tell us how she feels and what she really thinks about things. And it was really tragic to see her kind of devolve into that state and to really see the true Oikura Sodachi, because unfortunately, as is relatively unsurprising when it comes to this series, because Nisio Isin is not afraid to write characters that are very real. And for all the silliness that also is part of this series, the characters are so real, and you can understand their plights. And I think Sodachi has one of the most relatable plights of any of the characters in this series, and I'm sure many of you can understand her and relate to her in some form or fashion. Maybe not all of it, of course, but her issues are unfortunately related to a situation that's way more common than it should be. And situations like this do happen in the real world, and unfortunately they happen more than they should. Obviously they shouldn't happen at all, but they happen more than most people probably know. And it's very unfortunate that when it comes down to it, a shitty father and a relatively shitty mother too is such a huge part of such a awful existence for Oikura, who, despite the fact that her mother clearly had issues and clearly was not fit to raise a child, she saw her mother as the good parent because of how bad her father was. And that I really liked that writing wise, because it's obviously awful, but really it's very in line with the psychology of abuse victims. Because a lot of times the lesser of two evils becomes almost a love, right? And it's almost I wouldn't necessarily say a Stockholm Syndrome situation, but there is almost that degree of, in this case, it's like, well, at least she's not as bad as dad, right? Or another situation that can arise with people, this is obviously an adult situation, but if you're in a relationship, certain people can be in an abusive relationship and actually not see it as abusive because it's less abusive than a previous relationship. So they might have been in this like super toxic, super abusive relationship, break that off, then they're in another relationship that's toxic and abusive, but not as toxic and abusive. And because it's less, It's more like, oh, this is normal because my last boyfriend or my last girlfriend was so much worse. Just because of that, it's like, it's okay, right? And that's kind of the effect that we're seeing here with Sodachi, where it's like, well, my mom isn't as bad as my dad, so she's kind of okay, and yet she's still smart enough to understand that it wasn't, but that doesn't change her emotional response. And that's something that also is very relatable, because a lot of people are smart enough and do understand when they're in a shitty situation, but for whatever reason they accept it because of their emotional or psychological, trauma or issues, and that's just really tragic. Like, everything she said was heartbreaking. And this character, I don't think you're necessarily meant to like Oikura. I mean, I'm sure she has plenty of fans. You're not supposed to, Jesus Christ, you're not supposed to like this girl right here, but Jesus Christ, does she have a lot of fans. Oh my God, me included. But it's very interesting because I feel like while pretty much all of the characters in Monogatari have issues in some form or fashion, especially the girls, this feels like the first one. I mean, you could maybe argue for Nadeko, but I would counter-argue by saying that Nadeko is kind of given the, like, just cute girl, lol kind of vibe, which is kind of where you're kind of drawn in, and that's part of the whole, like, twist with Nadeko. And where they go with her character. But I would argue that for all their issues, for all their sauce, you are supposed to fall in love with these characters. Senjo Gahara is, of course, Senjo Gahara. Hanakawa is, of course, glorious, but all of them have their own kind of spice. But this feels like the first girl that I feel like you're actually just supposed to not like, but you're supposed to emphasize with her. And now I'm struggling with words and I don't want to try and say it again, but as you relate to her and really kind of dive more into her and understand her better, you find yourself, despite the fact that you potentially never liked her or weren't the biggest fan of her, you find yourself almost rooting for her because you understand that she's the way she is for a reason. And that's the tragedy of it all, right? The influence that adults and especially parents can have on their children and the way that they can shape their whole lives almost entirely out of the control of the child in this case. But she's a fighter. She's still alive, and despite everything, she left that conversation asking Hanakawa and Araragi to find her mother. And I hope that they do, and I hope they're able to give her closure in a way that she has never truly had, because all despite the fact that her mother had issues with her mother, in the end, it's still her mother. And for better or worse, in the end, she did still care about her to the end, and that's something that can't be ignored. And that was a really fucking emotional speech. That was fucking great. So I love that episode. I mean, there was other stuff in that episode, but really it was mostly just a conversation with Sodachi, and really the important part of that conversation was what she said. I mean, obviously Hanakawa and Araragi had great moments in there as well and said some awesome things that really fit who they are and really helped move things along with Oikura towards a resolution of sorts that it looks like we might be able to get to potentially in the next episode. Who knows? This could just be the next arc, and this could be a situation that goes on for the next 6 episodes after episode 7, but I'm imagining episode 7 will give us a sort of conclusion to the Sodachi kind of overarching arc that's kind of been going on really all of Owari, and I'm getting the feeling next video is going to be kind of some other sauce. Because while Sodachi's introduction and her situation with Araragi is very interesting and very compelling, she is not the character of which Owarimonogatari is focused on. At least I believe that. I truly believe that Owarimonogatari's focus character is Ougi, and I'm pretty confident about that. So I do think this is going to kind of be the resolution episode for this arc. I kind of feel like episode 6 was kind of the peak. I think episode 6 was the best episode of Owarimonogatari so far, and I'm literally, despite the fact that they went a little insane with the camera work and the panning and shit early on in this episode, other than that, that was a phenomenal episode. I loved it, and I can't wait to watch episode 7 of Owarimonogatari. So, yeah, let's just jump right into episode 7 of Owari. Oh, it feels so good to be back. Oh my god, I've been missing this for a while. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was episode 7 of Owarimonogatari, and in general, this was episodes 5 to 7. This was Sodachi, Lost, and I think episode 6 is the best episode of Owari so far, personally, but I think this was a great cap on the first section of Owari. I'm imagining probably gonna, we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna take a guess and say that it's kind of divided into 4 parts. We have 1 to 7. We have the next set, which is all one arc. We have second season, which will probably be its own thing, and then Zoku at the very end. I kind of imagine like basically this was the first half of season 1, second half of season 1 next video, season 2, and then again Zoku. So it feels like we've finished the first phase of the end story. And I certainly found it very, very good. It definitely felt like it didn't feel it was a very well told story about Oikura Sodachi and kind of how Ougi led Koyomi along, Hanakawa's involvement in the story, a little bit of Senjo as well. But it was a really well told story over the last 3 since our return to Monogatari, and I really enjoyed it. It definitely feels like a great self-contained story that had great character, motivational character kind of developments with Araragi and with Ougi. You know, Ougi kind of learning a bit about who Araragi truly is, getting to really understand a bit more of how Ougi operates. This was a great story that feels like in many ways a prelude to whatever is coming. And I mean, that's quite literally more or less what Ougi said at the end of episode 7. So that more or less is what it is, because Ougi's clearly not memeing or anything right now. But that was a tremendous episode. I absolutely loved it. I had a blast watching this. I really enjoyed the storytelling that they were able to get across with Oikura Sodachi, and how, again, Hanakawa, Ougi, and Araragi all played into that. It was really cool. This was a really fun set. I am loving Owari so far, and I feel like, despite the fact that this was very compelling, honestly think Owari's only going to get better from here. I think it's going to get crazier. I think it's going to get nuts. I mean, we still, of course, have the whole Mayoi thing, and whatever gets us to that point in Koyomi, that we'll probably find out in the next video, because we will be finishing season 1 of Owarimonogatari. So next Owari reaction, 6 episodes. It's funny because we have we don't have many Owari videos left, because if I check my sets, the way we're kind of like playing this is very fun, because Second season is only 7 episodes. That's 3 videos. But we only have 5 videos left of Monogatari, because next video we're doing a huge video. This is kind of one of our big one of the 2 remaining big Monogatari videos, which is 8 to 13. And then the second season is going to be split into 3 videos, but then we're also doing Zoku all together in one video. So we only have 5 more videos of Monogatari, and the second season videos will be on the shorter side, but the next video is going to be fucking huge, and the Zoku video, I believe, is also going to be huge, because I believe Zoku is like 6 episodes, so that'll also be crazy, and it's going to be our finale, quote-unquote, until we get more Monogatari, so it's sort of our finale. End story, by the way. God damn it. Fucking Nisio scene. But I am very excited to see where we go in these videos, because it's wild to think about it. We're 5 videos away from the end, or at least catching up to Monogatari. I honestly can't believe how close we are to the end of Monogatari. Obviously, it's a long series, but it's really been a very long series, because there's been all these interlude series we've done in between, from Devil is a Part-Timer, Made in Abyss, Madoka, there was some ReZero mixed in there, Violet Evergarden, like there were so many in-between series that we did, and that was kind of one of the things that was so, made this series much longer than it would have been, but obviously we are here now. I don't plan to do anything to that extent in the future. I would say I more regret it than I don't, especially given how much I love Monogatari. But at the same time, I really enjoyed a lot of the series I did in between. I thought, in particular, like Madoka Magica is one of my favorite shows now. Of course, Made in Abyss is very, very good, and I'm very excited for Season 2, which I'll be doing pretty soon on the channel, and all of that stuff. But it is one of those things where, in the end, it doesn't matter now. We're at Owari, we're at the end, we have a few more videos left, 5 to be precise, and the end is near. The end is near, ladies and gentlemen. And then you guys will get to see what next series I'm going to torture myself with by literally needing years to finish, because it's long as fuck. But, yeah, this was a tremendous episodes, tremendous set is what I'm trying to say, and I'm very excited for what they're going to do moving forward. Obviously, at the very least, Hanakawa isn't going to be directly here, so that's going to set things up more towards Ougi's design, and also is going to help, and also is probably going to play other girls into a bigger role, like Senjo Gahara, possibly Kambaru, possibly the Fire Sisters. We'll have to see where this goes with Ougi, but it's going to be fire. And I'm really excited for it, because everything we've seen of Ougi has only made her more intriguing than she was already, and she has been portrayed pretty much only as super fucking intriguing and weird and Oshino Ougi. So, yeah, this was a great time. I really enjoyed it. And more than anything, I'm glad to be recording, because I have really just not had the opportunity to record lately. And it feels so good to not only record, but to record Monogatari. I mean, fuck yeah. Holy shit. I'm going to get some other stuff in later tonight. It's about 1 in the morning here on the day you're going to get this. You guys will see this video about 11 hours after I finish it. But yeah, it's been a wonderful time. I've had a wonderful time watching this show, and I hope you guys have had a wonderful time enjoying it with me. We're 5 videos away, which is still a fair amount of time. Like, we're going to finish this around, if I'm consistent, around, like, the end of the year, and it still feels like we're so close, because this journey between the fact that, 1, Monogatari is really long, and 2, the in-between stuff, this journey's been going on forever, and to think that we're only a few videos away from the end, I'm already starting to feel the, like, holy shit, we're actually near the end of Monogatari. I'm almost caught up to Monogatari. It's fucking insane, and I'm so glad that, we're here. Even though I'm gonna, in about 5 videos of Monogatari, I'm gonna be kind of sad that we're here because of how much I love this show. But regardless, we are here, and that's what matters. So here we go. Something tells me next video is gonna be fucking insane. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you've not yet decided, without any further ado, it is time for me to bid you adieu. If you want to support my channel, the Patreon's down below in the description, as is my Discord server. You guys know the drill. Flamin' Shark signing out. Hope you guys have a wonderful, fantastical day, and I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace.